weeks ago, I purchased a Citizen Promaster Eco Drive dive watch, and I was really excited about it for a few different reasons. In the video that I did for that watch, I said that I would oil fill the case, and this was something I wasn't too sure about, but today I am going to be doing that, and I'm going to take you through the process. I've actually already done it, and I know the results, and I'm really happy with them. Let's flip the camera and take a look at the process on how you actually oil fill an Eco Drive watch, and then we'll take a look at the results. So you guys might be asking yourself, what the hell is Chris doing today? It's been a while since I've done a little bit of a watch experiment, and I'm doing it on my new Promaster Dive Eco Drive. What I have before you is my watch. I have a bowl. This is my YouTube Shorts bowl, sent to me by my YouTube handler. And then of course I have some paper here, and that is just to sort of cover the area just in case I make a mess. I probably will, I'm pretty messy, but I have my watch. I'm gonna put this in the bowl upside down. I'm going to fill the bowl a little bit with some oil. Now, I have some oil right here. It is multi-use synthetic lightweight oil, ISO 68, as you can see right there. I'm going to fill this watch up with oil. I'm gonna do it in front of you guys while you watch, and hopefully it all works out. Now, this is an Eco Drive watch. As you know, this is the Citizen Eco Drive Promaster, a 200-meter dive watch, and a lot of people ask, why in the world would you oil fill a watch? I'm gonna give you all the reasons right up front here, so you know, you don't go on being confused, but there are a few different reasons. Three major reasons, really. Number one, clarity. It adds a lot of clarity to the watch. There are oil-filled watches out there like Resence and Zinn, and there are a few others that actually use oil within their cases. They give them clarity. So when you are diving, when you are looking at your watch, when you're walking around outside, it doesn't matter where, it looks like the dial is printed on the underside of the sapphire crystal. That's the way I describe it. I've done this with other watches, digital watches, never an analog watch. So I'm not sure how this will actually work, but it does provide a lot of clarity. That's number one. Number two, when you oil fill a dive watch, or really any watch, it adds water resistance to that watch. Now, I have read stories about people who have actually oil filled watches and done tests. Now, I will do a test on this watch. I will send it out to a watchmaker and I will have them do a depth rating. And I want to see if this actually reaches something higher than 200 meters of water resistance, if it's still working when I'm done doing this video. If it's not, I'm going to air this video either way. So as a public service announcement, not to do something that is stupid like I'm doing right now, but we'll see. And I believe that the water resistance should go up, and I will find out. And number three, the third reason is it adds, and this is something that's not really important unless you're using this as a real dive watch, but it adds for temperature compensation. So because the watch is oil filled, the temperature doesn't affect the watch as easily. So you can go into very, very cold to very, very hot, and it won't really bother the watch very much. Or as much as it would have if it was not oil filled. That's really it. So that is probably the least important of the benefits. I think that the two most important benefits here is the clarity and the water resistance. Clarity is really the only benefit that I will benefit from. The water resistance, obviously, I will never really benefit all that much from. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna speed up the camera. I'm gonna take off the case back, put this in the oil, and then I'll re-add the case back and see how it comes out. I don't want bubbles this time. I've done it in the past where there are bubbles. I'll put links to those videos as well. So very quickly, let's try it out. Okay, so there is the inside of an Eco Drive. See, there is the Eco Drive movement. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pour this oil directly into the case and then let it overflow. I'm gonna let it sit for a while. You can see the watch is working currently, and we'll find out if it does continue to work. So I'm just gonna let it sit there. Bubbles will come up as it seeps into the movement and into the dial portion of the watch, and then I'll keep on adding oil. It's gonna overflow. I'm gonna add more oil, it'll overflow, and I'll keep on adding oil. You can see the bubbles coming up. I want no bubbles. When there are no bubbles, then I will, let's just flip the watch really quickly to see if it's still working. And I will tell you, it's still working. So oil is going in and it is still working. I'm gonna add some more oil here, and we will just let it sit for a little while, and then we will come back. Okay, so here are the results. When I put the watch upright, a little bit of air formed at the top of the dial, so then I just repeated until I made sure there was no air left in the case at all. Now, there's still a couple of little bubbles that you can see when I move the dial around, or the watch around. You'll see those. There's just a few, and they're very, very small. I'll do close-ups so you can see what I'm talking about. But here it is. The clarity is excellent on this watch. When you look at it from the side, and that's kind of one of the points of doing this, you can see the clarity that you are getting. And I have other watches here just to show you. Here is a Christopher Ward, and it also has a green dial. When you look at it from the side, it's not very, very clear. When you look at this from this side, when you look at the oil-filled watch, it's way clearer. I don't know if you could see that. In person, it definitely stands out. So that's one of the obvious benefits. And then, of course, since this has gaskets, and there's a gasket in the back, the gasket is actually sort of outside of the case. There's a lip to the case, so this won't be sitting in oil. However, part of the gasket will be sitting in oil. And then there's, of course, gaskets in the crown. There will be oil on those gaskets. However, when you unscrew the crown, no oil comes out. It pops out just as it normally would, and you could adjust the crown. It still hacks. Everything works just like it did before. Change the time, do whatever you need to do, and there you go. Really awesome. The only thing is there is a lot of oil within the bezel, so I have been just sort of wrapping it in paper towels. I heated it up with some hot water, and a lot of that oil came out. The bezel action is the same. Still, pretty good for this watch. I think it's a decent bezel action on here. Sounds the same, feels the same. Obviously, there's just a little bit of oil underneath there, and with time that'll dissipate and go away. But definitely want to clean it up before you put it on your wrist, or get it on your clothes, things like that. But crown works perfectly fine. No oil comes out, nothing comes out at all. I've done it a bunch of times. And of course, the case back just screwed back on. Put it on really tight. Now, I do plan to send this out to a friend who has a pressure tank and can actually measure this up to 1,000 meters, I believe he said, or at least his tank can do that. So who knows? This could be a 1,000-meter dive watch. It might be even more than that if it goes up to that limit. Pretty damn cool. And I think this looks really good. I think it looks a lot better than it did before. Not that this was a bad looking watch, but that clarity that it adds, it is pretty cool. And also you could see that this is a solar dial now, and I'll try and do a close-up so we can capture that. You can see a little bit of purple in the dial, which you didn't see before, which is pretty awesome as well. Awesome watch, and now it's a little bit better. I think this is pretty cool. Let's do a lume shot. I don't know if this will affect the lume. I doubt it. It still will gather light and will be able to glow, but let's try it out anyway, and then we'll wrap up the video. Well, there you go. The lume, still just as good as it was before. Obviously, it took a charge, and it is lasting very long, so really no issues there. Obviously, it is charging as well with light, and it is working. Everything is working fine. There's 3 benefits to doing this, as I mentioned in the sort of beginning of this video. Obviously, the clarity to the dial now. You have a lot of clarity through that oil, and then, of course, there is the water resistance, and then the last, and really not the most important, it's thermally compensated because of the oil. Temperature doesn't affect the watch as much as it did before. A lot of people will think this is pretty stupid. Really not that bad. I think it's fun and it looks really cool, and now I have an oil-filled dive watch that we'll see, maybe is a 1,000-meter dive watch, maybe even more than that. I don't know. We'll see. I think it looks cool and I really like it. But Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I have some links down in the description. Those links are to Amazon, and I have links to this watch, and I have a link to the oil that I use to fill this watch if you want to do it yourself. Obviously do it at your own risk, but I was able to do it and I have no issues with the watch whatsoever, working perfectly fine. So if you like this and you want to try it, definitely go ahead and try it with those items. If you buy them through Amazon, through the links that I've provided, those are affiliate links. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, it helps support the channel and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, put a comment down below. Tell me what you think of this sort of modification. Is it stupid? Do you think it's cool? Tell me down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Even if you don't like it, tell me. I want to know. And tell me why you don't like it. You know, I've told you why I like it. Tell me why you don't like it. I want to know. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It's super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.